This is Adam Gorney, Rivals.com, here with Nelson Stewart, who is the busiest man maybe in high school football right now, nationally. And Nelson, before I start in on the questions, I just kind of want to review last week. Brian Polian, Mike Denbrock from LSU, Nick Saban, Bill O'Brien, Pete Golding from Alabama, Kirby Smart from Georgia, Billy Napier, Florida, Jeff Levy, Oklahoma, AJ Milwee, Texas, Charlie Weiss Jr., Ole Miss. Am I missing anybody? And what is a week like that like as they all come through the office?
Uh, uh, you might have if I go
Yeah.
through it. We had an awful lot. Um, it's a little bit of a circus. It is chaotic, but that's my job. I think this is like I've said many times. I don't know if I ever thought it would be to the magnitude it is now, but um, I'm doing the best I can to stay organized. Still have five classes with my little guys during the day, and it is chaotic. I think it starts with started kind of quickly where actually there was another Corey Dennis from Ohio State actually reached out last Sunday morning and said he was interested in coming to a basketball game. I never met him. He'd asked if I'd meet him. And I said I'd be glad to. It was about 8 o'clock in the morning. So obviously he did that. Then all of a sudden, then Coach Weiss reached out, said, "Hey, I'd like to go too." And then it was actually interesting. It was my twin's birthday, and on game day, I had to. I stayed, 99% of the time, but I had to leave a little early because I got a call from Matt Luke also that Coach Smart was coming in, kind of on a whim. Obviously, head coaches come down once. So when I got to the basketball game, Coach Smart, Matt Luke, Todd Munkin, and Buster, their quarterback coach, were there. And all of a sudden, everybody was together and a lot of catching up. And we watched the second half together in a public gym, which was good. And it's the first time really getting a chance to talk to him, and he's trying to do due diligence and get a chance to talk to everybody best can. And then, like I said, it got it gets a little chaotic. I think what I always ask is you try and talk the night before to map out your schedule the best you can. Just one of the days, I guess, going through one when probably off the top of my head, Friday might have been the busiest day when I knew that all of a sudden we were going to have AJ Milway was going to be in the morning from Texas. So first thing I got in and met him, we got to talk football 45 minutes. Then as I went into my classes, he stayed in the office. And all of a sudden Terry Joseph from Texas came at the midpoint, talked to those two, kind of navigated right as LSU, Coach Polian, their new OC came through the doors. One went out. They're giving each other a hard time. And then right around, all of a sudden, you get a ping right around the corner. Here comes my buddy Petey Golding, who's good friends with AJ Milway, giving him a bear hug, and Bill O'Brien. And, went through that. Then all of a sudden, we had weights. AJ was able to, kind of, stay around there. I feel like that he's the one, he knows my office better than I do. So he did some work. And then in the afternoon, finally, Coach Saban, never actually been on campus before, but Coach Saban came in and we tried our best to get him in the basketball game. I'm sure you've seen some of the videos. We made it about 10 feet. And after about 2 minutes, I just stepped in, which I've had to do a few times, I guess, last years, and say, "We're good." I actually moved him up to the track where he got to watch the game in relative peace with Alabama and Texas. LSU was also at the game. And after walking him out late, went back in, made sure everybody else was good, and get up, started again. So just this morning we had about 6 schools in here, and I just have to put them in the office at the same time. Mississippi State, Southern Miss, Princeton, Georgia Tech, Louisville, all in here, and great coaches. So I just do the best I can. But they all came in and got to see them.
Now, obviously, a lot of those guys are there for Arch Manning. There's no doubt about it. I mean, that's the purpose. They can't talk to him while on campus. They can't really interact. So you're sort of the liaison, the middleman between the two. Is this take us inside? Is this relationship building? Is this what they can do for Arch? Is this, questions Arch might have for them that you're kind of funneling to them? What's kind of the process for you here?
Well, I think you said a lot. And I think I try and be the voice for the family as best I can. I'm fortunate that, I speak, to Cooper manning a fair amount. And I try and give Arches in basketball season, so I try and give him as much space possible, not overwhelm him. I just kind of say, hey, look, so here's who's coming on campus. If he has any questions, I try and navigate that. A lot of it is just, again, still getting to know each other. I think, as you alluded to earlier, one thing that Cooper's tried to do, and the family and Arches, hit the brakes a little bit, not get in a hurry. You've seen so much turnover already with the portal. Some great example, Jeff Levy, who came in last week as well from Oklahoma, had formed such a great relationship. That's a whole new school that hadn't offered him. Now they're in the mix. So, I think that to just navigate where he is, what's important to him, what's important to the coaches, what are they looking for, what the real timeline is, what his visit schedule might look like, when they'd like to see him, what their class looks like, what their quarterback situation looks like, and really give them, I think, an overview of, I think, what's important to the family, where they are. While they're the first family of football, I think everyone's trying to give him as normal a teenage, existence at Newman as we can. We've kind of, I think, locked arms to give him hopefully the best support system that he can formulate his own opinion. So he asks a lot of questions. He's very inquisitive. I think everybody's trying to do it the right way, but certainly this is unlike anything I've ever seen. And I just try and hopefully just stand in front and, shield him as much as I can, and just take the brunt of it on and formulate their thoughts to his family and, pass it up the ladder the best I can. So really everything from, hey, it's amazing. Guys that maybe played with Cooper, coached with Peyton, or played with Peyton, coach Peyton, one today had Peyton's quarterback coach in Denver at a spot. And it's really, Napoleon, when he came in, talking all about his relationship, obviously through his dad and being a GM, and all of a sudden it's great. Bill O'Brien walks in, they're talking about the Chicago Bears, and as Coach Saban's itinerary in the corner. It's a lot of bouncing, but it's a lot of fun too. So just do the best I can.
And it feels like it's going to be going on at least a little bit longer. I don't think this is like some sort of publicity stunt or anything. I think it's really him trying to figure out the best place for him. Obviously, the attention is there. What does that timeline look now in terms of when he's going to? It looked like maybe a decision early in this offseason, now through the spring and into the summer. First, what's the thinking there? And second, kind of why is this going on through the visits now?
Well, right. So when we connected with the family after the season, got into winter. I think it was, where are we? And I think that the overall theme is that, watching the portal and all the turnover on staffs, and really still, Arch hasn't, with the pandemic, had a chance to really see practices, sit in meetings, and really visit. I think it's more than anything, the thinking is, let's slow down and really give ourselves a chance to be thorough, be thoughtful. Look, this isn't, I think I speak for the family. We're not talking about, hey, going on a date per se. This is an engagement, something very important. And they take a lot of pride in that, and they're going to do it right. And so, the thought is, hey, if there are coaches that want to come to Newman and want to learn about Arch and get a chance to see him, hey, we're giving them that opportunity. Coach Stoops from Kentucky coming through tomorrow. Excited to meet him. So really, you're getting all different, all different coaches from across the country. So I think what it sets up for is having these conversations. Then after basketball, he gets into spring. He's going to be able to really get a good itinerary. He's fortunate to be able to see a lot of these schools, go around. And after those visits, I think, and look, if he goes out, he feels like, hey, this is the spot, he's going to do it. But also, I think there's stuff to be seen in the fall. So we'll get in there, get in the summer, maybe go to some camps if he'd like to, see as many people as he can. Then once we get in the fall, I think the thought is, kind of see where we are. And at that point, it sounds like hopefully he'll be in a position to make a decision. But again, I think this is all for all the right reasons. The publicity has nothing to do with it. If anything, I'm still overbearing of him. Still don't like to have him do a lot of interviews. He's still just a kid.
Right.
But I think it's more about being thoughtful And if he was going to rush it and make an instinctual decision, then I think you can really get caught in something that maybe you're not all the way in on. So just all about doing it the right way.
And I think that's an important point. The transfer portal, as we've seen, is completely off the rails. And you look at Spencer Rattler and Caleb Williams, the two five-star quarterbacks from Oklahoma, both leave. Both are different, going to end up at different places. And Oklahoma will be just fine and have figured it out. And all around the country, this is happening. But also, he wants, I would imagine, wants to see what those places look like. The coaching carousel is another situation that was wild this year, and that leads into trickles down to coordinators and quarterback coaches and all those sorts of things. So is this kind of a feeling like, hey, maybe I do want to see a game day with Jeff Lebby in charge? Maybe I do want to see what Sark's year 2 looks like. Those kinds of things. Is that kind of the idea?
I think so. Yeah, I think all
Yeah.
the above. It is so important. I think the number one thing is going to be the university itself. I think that he has loved every visit he's been on. He's loved all the universities, all the campuses. Arch is someone that's very popular, very social, wants to enjoy being a student as well. I think that's important. And yeah, I think that as I've learned, even in his recruitment, there's some coaches, and this obviously for me has been going on 3 years. There's some coaches that are on their third school since then, really good coaches. So I think you start with the university, and there are all different kinds of nuances. Something that Peyton Manning reminds me of all the time is even as a head coach, that position coach is just as important. So not just who's the head coach, who's your position coach, who's going to be the coordinator, really philosophically, what are things that are important to those guys. So a lot of those systems are still being developed. So I think that as Jeff Lebby goes in, he's done a fantastic job. He's excited, obviously, to be at his alma mater. And, Arch has never been to Oklahoma. So I think it's a great chance. And you adding Coach, Venables coming in, that's a whole different look for what they do and how they do it. And so I think that's obviously an avenue for him that's very important. And look down in Baton Rouge, Brian Kelly, that whole staff came in, and it's funny. They're looking, what do we do to get in this? Well, you try. I'd like to think not to penalize coaches that are getting in. Obviously, I've been blessed to get a lot of relationships in this process. So have the Mannings, but I think they want to stay as open as possible to really not, weed anyone out early. So they're just still trying to be thorough with it. And I think Texas. He loves Texas. You really want to see what they do. They're super excited. I know they think they're going to have a much stronger year, a great recruiting class. Georgia, same thing, done a great job, obviously, what they've done. And, it's really easy to say, hey, I'm going to sign with a national champion or go to the place at the first visit. There's now a lot more depth to it. So I think he wants to really go and, sit in meetings, sit those practices, see what it's like now, because it's a lot more real when you're young. It's kind of like Never Neverland. Well, now he's a senior. One more year with him. So it's crazy, but I'm excited for him. I really am. And I try to be careful in everything I say, and that this is his decision. I've been incredibly blessed to meet all these guys, love some of these coaches, and we're fortunate with their family that these coaches have done it the right way. I think we've been able to get so many ideas, expand what we're doing offensively, all those things. And I know whoever's going to get him is going to be really excited. But I do think this, once he makes his decision, it's going to be final. So there's not going to be a lot of hat pulling and blessed and humbled to receive anything. I think this is about finding the right home for Arch.
Last thing, and it's such a hot topic, and I want to ask you about it since you're in it. NIL money. Has that been broached by every coach that comes in? Not at all. Does Arch care about it? Obviously, he comes from a family that isn't necessarily needing that money, but he's obviously someone who can pull a certain price. How has that been factored in, as it is now a huge part of recruiting?
I think the biggest thing is I wouldn't be obviously privy to anything they'd want, but I don't think this is something that factors with him. And only because I think that, I think that really big picture, I think the NCAA is still trying to figure this thing out. I think everyone is. I mean, what's it going to look like? That you add in, to me, this is him aside, you add in, the NIL, you add in the transfer portal. It's crazy. I see, I have players that weren't able to sign because they're not spots. So I think a lot could still change with that. I think that Arch is a purist. What we've discussed really is the college and the football piece. And it was funny. When he comes through, whether it's if he were to talk to Sark or Billy Napier, he'd be just as quick to ask, "Hey, how's that quarterback that you coached 5 years ago, or what was it like when you were playing quarterback?" He likes to take notes and do that. I think he's still in a pure form of this thing. He's really getting to know a lot of these recruits. I think it's neat seeing if any of these guys are going to land together and as they formulate their relationships and bonds. And fortunately, I don't think right there that there's really anything to it. It's a whole new world, obviously, with the family as they get into those things, they get into those discussions. But again, he comes from a good place in this. So I think he, as has been this recruitment, is very, very unique and very authentic. And that's obviously a humbling, nice thing to see for me.
All right, that is Newman coach Nelson Stewart. God bless you. I appreciate the time. Thanks, Nelson.
My pleasure, buddy. Thank you.